Good morning, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First AI Daily, your collaborative AI intelligence report. It is Thursday, October 16th, 2025. How we doing, Nico?
Doing good, sir. Yeah, doing well. Another day in the AI sphere, and plenty of news. Not all of it the greatest, but some interesting moments coming out of China. Um, what I saw yesterday, which I mean, it's not. So it is. It's all AI to me because either it was AI, like at this point, right? Because it's either AI teamwork designed or like just completely like AI designed or AI discovered, whatever it is. We're getting towards like AI, and at this point, AI discovered is like AI discovered based on things that pre-existed, but we hadn't put the concept together yet. Um, as opposed to what we're working towards, which is AI coming up with like actually developing its own like new frameworks and things that are
Yeah,
not ours.
truly
Um,
like AI sourced.
alien to us, if you will.
Yeah.
I look for, I mean, like I I can't imagine. So like one of the things that I came across is that there is a new form of silicon chip, uh, not necessarily new. Well, yeah, I guess. And so previously, um, transistors have sat at a level of like 2 nanometers, which if you're struggling to figure out how small that is, I understand because you can't see a nanometer. So we're talking about like infinitely small scale. The law, the scientific law says you're not you're not allowed to go any lower than zero point 0.5 nanometers. Nvidia got from 2, they're claiming 1.5. It's actually 1.6, but is measuring at nanometer scale. um, a lab in China managed 0.22. So it's they're calling it 2D chips.
Good teacher.
So it's, yeah, like and
I mean, that's
it's
fair.
right. Like I gotta say, it was a weird thing. Well, yeah, because like I was trying to explain it to my brother, and he's like, "Well, what does that even mean?" And like to me, I understand because like I've done 3D um like 3D animation and stuff in the past, so I know what a 2D planar surface looks like in 3D space. It looks like almost nothing. It's the thinnest thing you can possibly imagine. It just happens to do something like happens to seem like it takes up space when you turn it at an angle. Um, and that's exactly what this is. It is the thinnest thing you could possibly imagine. It makes like nanotubes, like carbon nanotubes, look like monstrous things, right? Which I don't know. Like at these scales, it's kind of crazy. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that we are steadily working towards, in my opinion, um, pretty quickly working towards um, like stable semiconductors at room temperature. And like, what's the big deal with that? The big deal with the data centers right now is the cooling,
Cooling.
right? The water that it uses. Like everybody, so like when we talk about like AI going to advance AI and going to like move things forward, it's it's a lot about them getting to a mark that they know is coming where it's going to be able to help them to put these pieces of the puzzle together so that we can solve these more advanced problems that actually retroactively solve issues, not just go forward. So if you're able to have semiconductors at room temperature, well, okay, now we can pretty much get rid of all of the overt cooling that we had before. We don't need all of the water cooling that we had before. It becomes it becomes a case where it's like, wow, is this a regular office building? So like, so here's this. I'm just throwing it out there. It clicked in my head. Not saying that it's going to happen. Just seems like a 2 plus 2 thing. Corporate America, as far as I can tell, in most urban areas, pretty much getting gutted out because of remote work, because of just the change in business altogether. It's getting gutted out. What I mean by that is a lot of those buildings are going empty. There are a lot of buildings in downtown Dayton that are empty, right? Office buildings. But you can't turn an office building into a data center, can you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Right. I think
So
this.
yeah, I think you're gonna
Right.
see like your first like NCOM, right? Where it's just a building of data center, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is why this is like a new layer of infrastructure. And if you don't think about it that way, like most of what most of what comes out of your mouth is probably nonsense about what you think AI means and what is going to happen or not going to happen. Because, like, you shared a video that I look forward to watching um, before we started. And it was, another person saying, like, oh, we need to rein it in, we need to turn this around. Like, the intelligence exists now. And I think something I've said before and we've talked about before, like, the only thing that stops it now is like going back to no electricity,
Right.
like, right? Like going back, like some kind of a apocalyptic event, which I'm not going to count humans out as far as like creating that. So there's a non-0% chance um, that could happen. But now that it's here, whatever constraints you give it, it's gonna innovate
Yep.
in ways that we haven't been able to before at a scale we haven't been able to before. Like you mentioned the chips, like a couple months ago, it was Microsoft developing like water threaded, you know,
Yeah.
where the cooling's like built into the chip. Now this
Right.
2D chip removes the capacity to hold heat,
Right.
so you don't have to cool it,
Right.
right? And AI is just going to continue to cycle and cycle and cycle to get more and more efficient, less and less um I'll say less and less unnecessarily complex because it's the unnecessary complexity that leads to the energy consumption that humans have only been able to try and solve for the energy consumption part, which is a symptom of problematic like design and inefficient infrastructure.
Mhm.
So now AI is there to start to solve the root cause of a lot of this, probably get us to things like, quantum things faster, which like that's another layer where that completely breaks in half
Mhm.
like the laws that we've been
Right.
abiding by, right?
Yeah.
And like the nanometers, and you start to think about like Ant-Man, like that kind of stuff. I mean,
That's what we're talking about is like, and quantum, like there was a breakthrough in quantum computing. um I'd bring it up, but there are some things that we'll talk about that are like locally relevant. There are some things we'll talk about that are scale wise, that are like soon to come, like what we're talking about now. And then there are things that that I could talk about all day that are coming in the next 5 years that it's going to shatter your brains. One of those things being the fact that quantum computing is also becoming like very much more tangible in terms of much more stable, can actually run computations for longer periods of time. So they can actually start doing like massive amounts of research with it. um they just did, I want to say, I don't want to get this wrong. But in between that, I was thinking of when you were saying that, I was thinking of what we're running into now, which we haven't really seen. Okay, so in terms of paradigm breakthroughs, there's what we usually experience, but on a much like much more gradual scale, is this thing that's Jevons paradox, right? And it states that if you make more of a great thing and you make it more like if you make it cheaper, then more people are going to want to use it. So it's the same, and it really like realistically, it should apply towards utilities where like the more electricity we produce, the cheaper it should get. And we produce a lot of it, but I don't know. Anyway, the what's going on with AI, this is the first time that we're experiencing it on a mass scale where GPT is free. So practically everyone is using it, either GPT or Claude or Gemini, right? And it's getting better. The free version just keeps getting better. So, I mean, the paid version unlocks
It's
a whole
all of
like,
the versions. Like that's the foundation we talk about. Like
yeah,
it's all there's only one way for it to go, and that's to get
that's the
better.
thing.
And anything built, that's why it's infrastructure and not like a tool or a new piece of software, right? Because it's just adding in this really robust, unimaginably scalable like infrastructure that's intelligent. Like it changes
Oh,
everything. And where I've been the past couple days at a an industrial event where people are asking questions like how does AI work?
mhm,
And there's people presenting, like there's a couple AI talks where it's like this is how we're going to approach unifying your business context and helping you deliver results with AI. And like at the Q&A of one of the keynotes, I was like, yeah, so your playbook doesn't mention anything about training and enablement. Like so everybody in the room, because I was the second question. The first question was how is the AI doing what it's doing, like whatever was displayed.
yeah,
And that takes us down the usual rabbit hole of focusing on product and like the engineering and the specs and all this stuff. And I said, if I could make a suggestion to all the leaders in the room, stop asking that question and start asking the question of how will our people work with AI? Like that's how you get to where you say you want to go. If you can't
right,
solve that and you care about the people, right? Like that's an important part here because if you don't ask that question, you will end up replacing your people because AI in 1 or 2 years will be good enough for you to just skip that part, right?
mhm,
For most jobs in the org. But if you want to leverage the value of the resources you already have at your disposal and you want this to go faster, you have a bunch of valuable people in your org that if everybody's asking the question, how does AI work? Then you treat it like everything else, which is like, okay, we're going to go get the certification. We're going to learn how to do prompt engineering. Like, okay, you did the course. Okay, checkbox. You know how to use AI. And that's not working out for folks, just like it hasn't worked out for SaaS, for industrial equipment implementation, like this huge training and enablement gap. People are coming at it the same exact way, and it's going to run into the same exact wall, which is at some point, people don't know what to do with the thing that you just given them, why it's coming into their life, how it's going to make their life better, what they're even supposed to be doing for the business with the new thing. So they're like,
right,
okay, I still know how to write emails. So I'm just going to do that because I know I've been getting pats on the back for doing that part of my job. I'm just going to keep doing that. And it's just, It's crazy. It's
It's
the
a lot
human
different than
condition, and ultimately, this is why we need AI so much.
right.
But
And that's the thing is like all of like what's happening now is breaking a lot of the traditional models of economics at the same time. You know, people are talking about what's going on with this big watching Wall Street to me these days is like watching Saturday morning cartoons. It's the funniest thing.
mhm,
So they're talking about like AI bubble. And why are they talking about AI bubble? Something's happening, at least that I'm watching, that I've never seen happen before for a positive reason. I've seen it happen for the most negative of reasons. In other words, I've seen conglomerates get together and sit down at tables and talk about how they're going to, I don't know, cheapen whatever product they're cheapening, add more sugar to whatever they're going to add more sugar to, figure out a way to put corn into something, XYZ, right? Never been a bad thing. Nobody ever said anything bad about it. And they've all traded money for product and stock for product before. Nobody's ever said anything bad about it. Now, these tech firms get together and they're like, hey, you know what? Turns out private investment doesn't cut it for the kind of cash we need and for the amount of product we need. But we all do. We all have valuations that are ridiculous that we can borrow billions of dollars against. We all have stock valuations that are worth so much we can borrow billions of dollars against. So why don't we just help each other out?
yeah.
Right?
And companies like NVIDIA have cash. Like,
Yeah.
they have cash to use.
AMD got plenty of cash, right? Cisco, plenty of cash. So they're they're basically so why Wall Street, in my opinion, is so upset is because of what we've been talking about, like where the valuations on these stock prices are, they're only going to continue to keep going higher because the companies are only going to do better. Again, Jevons paradox, like it's going to become easier to get a hold of. More people are going to use it. It's going to affect more systems. I'm reading countless stories every day about, oh, integration of this AI system did this and exploded this aspect and has brought about this whole new way of doing this thing. Every single day, like every day, I could find a story about this kind of stuff. And it's because like some new like, and it's not even like, oh, they just discovered something. It's, oh, this state's now using this. And oh, this place is now using
Yeah.
this. And so, like,
People
all of
have
these
adopted
places
it.
are starting to see these efficiencies, and these efficiencies are starting to pop up and grow everywhere. And because of that, it seems like a bubble. It acts the exact same way as a bubble. But in reality, it's just a growth of infrastructure tied to economics. And we've never had that before. The only time that we've had an infrastructure layer that went around the entire globe that everyone had to, there's two, right? Well, I guess three if you want to count water. Um, but you've got electricity, water, internet. Electricity and water, okay, but you had so many people owning those that nobody really noticed, right? I mean, there's thousands of those companies, right? When it comes to internet, nobody owns it. It's just out there. AI is an infrastructure. It is owned. It's owned by these private companies that are, I mean, for the better part, the ones that will make the most money are nonprofit, including Google, by the way. DeepMind is a nonprofit organization. Alphabet may profit as being like a sister to DeepMind, but DeepMind is a private company that is not publicly traded, right? So the research aspects of all of the top three companies are locked down, and investors cannot poison them as much as they want. Like they want to do it so badly and they can't. So what happens is these guys are only going to become worth more, right? OpenAI is worth $500 billion. It is the most it's the most highly valued private company in the history of companies. and it's going to be worth double that next year. So
And it's based on actual value creation,
value,
not perceived. That's why this feels like a bubble, but isn't.
right?
There is a great podcast from the AI Daily Briefing. I think it's from Monday. That
Mhm.
says like he gives like 5 reasons this is a bubble, 5 reasons this isn't a bubble, just to kind of set the. And it was really insightful for me last night on the way home, listening to that, because we don't want what we don't want to do is say like, no, you're being ridiculous, right? Like because there are similarities,
Right.
right? And because everybody's used to this game that you have to play. That's why, I mean, this is at the heart of value first, too, folks. Like when you create the value, you're just going to cut through like all the noise, all the complexity, all the bullshit, right? And one of the favorite things of the past couple days is talking to people who I know have been doing content for a while in a space, in an industrial space that doesn't do videos. They don't show up
Mhm.
on social, but people that have been doing that and they're already like being found. Like they're small, they're not big organizations, but they're being found in AI chats, because AI can see your digital presence like nothing ever before it.
Yep.
And so if you just show up, like you don't have to play this AEO game, SEO game, like any of that. Like you just show up and create value. And that's the interesting part about these companies. Like they are getting, like they're not, profitable yet, but they're hitting revenue numbers at a pace that's never been seen before, like real revenue, like
Mhm.
not forecasted or any of that stuff, which is what all the other bubbles that have burst have been based on, right? And so we're gonna wrap for today, but it's we're gonna continue to be excited about this stuff. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
going anywhere. So we'll be back tomorrow to help you with this journey of treating AI as the best collaborator you've ever hung out with in your life. Until next time, Nico, have a good one.
See you guys.